Okay guys, so for this digital ink project, there's lots of different ways you can approach it. We're gonna take your image and then we're gonna clean it up in a variety of different ways. Okay, so the first step is to take a photograph or get your image onto the computer. So I've already done that. I've just used my cell phone. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on over to Photoshop and I'm going to open that up. So let me grab my Photoshop. Whoop, it's over here on this other screen. I'll move it here. All right, so I've got Photoshop and I'm gonna say File, Open. And I'm gonna work directly in the photograph, but I'm also gonna open up a new piece of paper. So I'm gonna have two things open. So I already took this photo and I used my Google Drive app and I put it into here. You can email it to yourself, whatever you wanna do to get it onto your computer. Now I just need to find the digital art folder. Here we go, digital ink. And here we go. Here's the photo that I took. And again, this is from a student. Grace, thank you for letting me use yours as an example. All right, so as you can see, this photograph is nothing special. One, it's sideways, which I did on purpose. So you could see I left a ton of table space around here, and I specifically chose this image that Grace has because there's multiple images, just to show you, because these are things that you might encounter when you're working on this project. I'm gonna open up a new piece of paper as well. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm creating an artwork. So the minimum size I'm gonna do is 8 by 10, but I can do something bigger if I want, okay? I'm gonna do an 8 by 10, because I know that will fit nicely into one of my frames. You could do an 8 by 12, that's another standard size, 9 by 12. You could do 16 by 20, whatever you want. Okay, but minimum size would be 8 by 10 at 300. I'm gonna call this digital ink. And then, you can put your name on there. Make sure it says RGB color and white. And I'm gonna go ahead and create. And there's my piece of paper. All right, I'm gonna go back to my photograph. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna rotate this because it's kind of hard for me to wrap around my head around this when it's sideways. So I'm gonna say image rotation, and this would be counterclockwise. Okay, there we go. I've rotated that. Again, that's under image rotation. You can move it around a variety of different ways. All right, so now I have it more upright. I'm also gonna go ahead and grab my crop tool right here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the crop tool, and I'm just gonna use a freeform crop. So I think if you just put it here on ratio, it will allow me to drag these in, and I'm gonna go ahead and crop out the table because I know I don't want that. And I don't need Grace's name on here, so you can go ahead and crop this out. If you know you're only gonna work with one of these images, you could also take this opportunity. Let's say I just wanted to work with the little puppy down there, then I could crop it like so, okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and do the whole thing though. So I've got the whole image here, and I'm gonna hit enter to confirm. All right, this is already looking much better, but here is where the magic is gonna happen. I'm gonna go ahead and do my black and white, set my colors to default black and white, and I'm gonna use one of these built-in filters. So it's filter gallery, and I'm gonna use the one that says stamp, because that is gonna clean up my image. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's pure black and white, and that already looks, pretty cool. I'm gonna take my sliders. You can play with your sliders. So you can see that's gonna bring like more detail, less detail in there. You can play with the smoothness. It looks like too much smoothness kind of gets rid of a lot of the shading that was applied. But, I'm liking this. This looks nice. You can play around. There might be other filters that look really cool, but I think the stamp is a nice, easy one because it drops out the majority of the stuff on the background. I'm gonna go ahead and dial this up a little bit to leave, you can see like there's some, I'm gonna kind of dirty this up. See how there's these little like other pencil marks around? I'm gonna go up pretty high so I can show you how to clean those up. So I'm gonna say, okay, I like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and now I can just use my white paintbrush and I can clean up some of these areas. So I'm gonna get B, my brush. In this scenario, I'm gonna actually use a hard brush, and I'm gonna get white, and I can just go ahead and paint with white. Let me turn my opacity up so it doesn't take all day. All right, I can clean up if there's like little dots around the image that I don't want. etc. So I can clean this up. Alternatively, let's say you were missing a little spot. Let's say for instance, there was like a little gap right here in my drawing. I can also take my black paintbrush, okay, and I can also draw in some lines as well. So if I need to touch up any areas, I can do that as well. I think my brush size was a little bit too big. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Oopsies. I have my smoothing on really high, so it's kind of slowing my brush down. Let's see here. There we go. And I'm happy with that. All right. I'm going to go back. So you can definitely add any details that you want. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just use the hot dog little stand guy here. So this is pretty cleaned up, and I'm ready to now move over to my piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and right off the bat give myself a piece of a solid color background or a gradient. Let me go ahead and do a gradient background. I'm just going to get anything just to get started. There, I like that one, and okay. All right, so I'm going to take my little hot dog guy over here now, and I'm going to cut him out. You can cut him out with just your rectangle, okay, like so, or you can use your lasso. So if you have kind of like a weird edge and it won't fit in a rectangle, Control D to deselect, and I'm going to use my lasso, and I can just draw around the areas of the image that I want to select. Okay, I've drawn around it, I've selected it. Now I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to paste it onto here. All right, so everybody look up here. So you have some color on the background, you've got your image, but how do I get rid of all this white? I am just going to use my blend mode multiply. So everybody look up really quick. I have pasted on my image, I've cleaned it up, I used the stamp filter, I used right here my lasso to just do a rough cutout. I'm going to use the multiply blend mode to drop out the white. Watch this, boom, there we go. All right, already, okay, this is looking more like a nice digital artwork, right? So I can change my size of things. I can also go ahead and start coloring things in. So I'm gonna make a new layer. So this is my background layer. You could do solid color gradient, you could do an image, whatever. I'm gonna make a new layer. Now that this is on multiply, it will show through anywhere that's white. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my brush and I can start hand coloring this. So let's say I wanna do, I'm gonna do like a nice bright yellow for my hot dog words. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna fill in my text. I'm gonna make my brush a little bit bigger. And I can just go ahead and paint this in. I'm going to turn my smoothing down because this is really slowing my brush down. Okay, and there we go. So I can hand color this in. And whoops, if you go over the lines, so here's one thing I'm going to say about the lines. Depending on this type brush you have, it might look cool, okay? But you can also go in and you can clean that up, okay? So anything, it will show anything underneath that's on multiply. I would recommend that you do a new layer for each color. So make a new layer. Let's say I want to paint the roof a different color. Okay, make a new layer. So maybe I want to do a red for the roof, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to, again, just take my brush, and you can see I can go in here. You can also play around. There's different brush styles. Okay, so if you want to use one of these cool kind of brushes with like a little bit of a rougher edge, you know, that can look nice as well. So that is how you would just hand color stuff in. Don't forget, anything you've hand colored in, you can also clip a texture onto. So let's say I want to get, I don't know, like a wooden texture. Let me go ahead and find something. I don't know, let's say I want to use this. I don't want this demo to take forever. So let's say I've got this image. I want to put this on the red portion. Whoopsies. I'm just going to copy paste. Copy paste. There we go. Woo, that's really big. And right click, clipping mask. And now you can see I've applied that to the red areas. I obviously don't want that to cover all my red. So maybe I'll turn the opacity down, right? So now I have a little bit of texture, or I could use a blend mode. Okay, so I think I'm just going to turn it down, and there you can see. Kind of hard to see on the projector, but there is texture here now. Maybe I'll turn up the opacity so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so now you can see that there's texture that's been applied as well. Okay, so that is how you're gonna color things. If you, let's say you bleed over these lines, I can see right here, I filled in the O of the hot dog. I can just grab my eraser tool right here. E is the eraser. I'm gonna zoom in, and now maybe I'll clean up this right here. Oops, I colored outside the line. I colored outside the line. There we go. There we go. Now I need to get back to that same yellow. B for my brush. I for my eyedropper. E for my brush. Oops, why is it not bringing up my brush? There it is. And I'm gonna click on my color. And I wanna use eyedropper because I want that same yellow. And now I can continue filling this in. So on and so forth. Okay, so does that make sense? So stamp filter, multiply, make sure that you're working in a new document, okay? Minimum of 8 by 10 size.